Alright everyone, a few days ago, I published a video talking about how to avoid market crash. For your record, I will list that video down below, so you can watch that video if you haven't. Do you still remember what rule number two I told everyone? If you watch the video, or you are watching this video, remember, never ever play against the Fed, the Federal Reserve. The reason is the Federal Reserve's monetary policy determines the market value and market price. If the Federal Reserve decides to raise the interest rate or do something else, it will definitely bring down the market value. I think I published the previous video on January 3rd, 2022. And then yesterday, on January 5th, the Federal Reserve published their meeting notes of a December meeting. It immediately caused a blood kill in the stock market. Let's take a look at the stock market. I'm so in love with you. What a show. Today, right now is January 6th. All the major indexes are down again. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Let's see the 5-day performance. You see this big drop from yesterday? From January 4th to January 5th, you see this big drop? This was about 3.6% market drop. Nasdaq represents the overall technology stocks in the stock market. It's impossible, almost impossible for an index drop 3.5%, but it happened. And today, as you can see right now, the stock market is still going down. After the 3.5% drop yesterday, right now, it dropped another 1.14%. Oh, by the way, today, the stock market is not closed yet. I recorded this video in the morning. During these 2 days, by far, the market has dropped almost 5%. It's impossible, right? But it's happened. Who made it happen? The Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is like some kind of god. It has this kind of power to bring down an overpriced market. What about the housing market? Should we be worried about the housing market in 2022? Definitely. I have recorded several videos. I was trying to raise everybody's awareness and consciousness. I already told everyone several times. Because the Fed has decided to tighten the monetary policy, the Federal Reserve has already found that inflation has become a major issue in the US economy. The Federal Reserve will not give away free money to the markets or the investors anymore. The Federal Reserve is trying to bring back all the extra money it issues during the pandemic back to the reservation. Yesterday, the major concern of the stock market is, in addition to tightened monetary policy, the meeting note of the Federal Reserve also showed that the Federal Reserve is trying to reduce its balance sheets. What does this mean? This shows the Federal Reserve has a commitment to make the tightened monetary policy very strict. This caused this blood kill in the stock market. Housing market is different. We will not see immediate price drop, price cut in the housing market because houses are not treated as frequently as stocks. But for housing investors, you guys need to be very cautious when you invest any properties in 2022. Because today's stock market is just tomorrow's housing market. Repeat following me. Never ever play against the Federal Reserve. This is just the most important rule you cannot deny if you play the investment game in the market. When I make market predictions, the first and foremost rule I need to refer to is rule number 2. What would the Federal Reserve think if you look at the current market condition? As I told you in the previous video, the Federal Reserve's major role is to control inflations in the US. The Federal Reserve doesn't care about if investors make profit in the stock market or housing market. If any market is overpriced, there is inflation in any market, the Federal Reserve will definitely do something to control that market, no matter it's the stock market or the housing market. So if you are the Federal Reserve officer, when you look at the current market conditions, what would you do? Would you just let the stock market and housing market rocket to the outer space? You will not, because your concern is about the persons living in the US. If there is no control in stock market and housing markets, a regular person living in the US, a US citizen, or anybody living in the US cannot just afford the market. Then there will be a lot of homelessness, a lot of persons lost their pensions, lost their houses. That will be very dangerous to a society. The Federal Reserve will never let those scenarios happen. So what would the Federal Reserve do in the current condition? It will tighten the monetary policy, so all the craziness in the stock markets, in the meme stock trading, in the housing flipping will go away. The market will go back to its normal condition. So thank you, Federal Reserve. So far, I have accurately predicted the crash of the Zillow iBuying program and the mini crash of the stock market on January 5th, 2022. I hope these predictions can be useful to my viewers, my lovely fans. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Because so far I have predicted 2 major mini crashes in the market. In the future, there will be more mini crashes or even major crashes. I will continue collecting market data, analyzing data, and then sharing these findings with everyone, so you can avoid all of these crashes. Oh, by the way, I'm not a bearish investor, nor am I trying to be a negative Nick. I firmly believe, from a long term, America is the best place to invest, no matter you invest in stock markets or the housing market in America. But that is for the long term. For the short term, we can accurately predict the market. If you know this market very well, you analyze the market data, you follow the Federal Reserve decision, we can predict the market. We can avoid these market crashes so that we can make our money work harder for us. We can optimize our investments and get better returns. This is the major purpose of all of my analysis and videos.